The first crack didn't sound like betrayal. It was quieter than that. It was a Thursday afternoon, the kind of day that feels like it shouldn't matter. I was on my lunch break, sitting in my truck, scrolling through messages on my phone. One caught my eye. A forwarded text from my younger brother, Nate. No subject. Just a screenshot and a question underneath. Isn't this your wife? The image was from an Instagram story. A brief clip, grainy, like it had been taken quickly or discreetly. Two people walking through an airport terminal. A man in business casual dragging a sleek silver carry-on, a woman beside him laughing, tilting her head toward his shoulder like she was about to whisper something. I tapped to pause the video. Her hair, that long honey-brown shade she always claimed was natural, was tied back the same way she did every time she traveled. Her purse, yes, unmistakable, the burgundy leather one with the gold buckle she said was too nice for work but perfect for the airport. I didn't want to admit it right away. Denial's not always loud. Sometimes it just sits with you like a cold hand on the back of your neck. I stared at the video for a full minute, tried to convince myself it was someone else. But the longer I looked, the more obvious it became. It was her. And it wasn't just that she was traveling with someone I'd never met. It was the way her body tilted toward his, the casual comfort of their movement like they'd done this a dozen times. 2 hours later, she called me. Her voice was cheerful, too cheerful, like a travel blogger doing a voiceover. Hey babe. Just landed. Flight was smooth, I'm about to grab a cab. I'll text you when I check into the hotel. I didn't mention the video. I just said okay. Have fun. And she replied, don't worry, we're just friends. That was the first time she said it. As if she knew I'd seen something. As if she could smell suspicion and was already trying to scrub it off me before it settled. We're just friends. Then she boarded a second flight. Not for the conference she told me about. Not to New York like her calendar said. She flew to Portland with him. A man I didn't even know existed until a week ago when she casually mentioned his name like he was a harmless coworker. Eli's on the project too, she had said. He's harmless. Bit of a nerd. Kinda funny though. She brushed off my warning with a laugh when I told her I had a weird feeling about him. I remember it now with precision. She was sitting on the kitchen counter, legs swinging like she was 16 again, munching on strawberries. I told her I don't like how often his name comes up. She looked me dead in the eyes and laughed. Not a guilty laugh. A bold one. Like I was ridiculous. Like the idea of her sneaking around was absurd. God, you're acting so paranoid, she said. You need to chill. That laugh stuck in my ribs. I didn't confront her right then. Instead, I started watching. Quietly. Carefully. The flight info from the forwarded video didn't match what she told me. The airline was wrong. The destination was wrong. And when I checked her company's event schedule online, publicly available, I saw there wasn't even a conference in Portland that week. That's when everything went from strange to surgical. I started looking for patterns. She had left her email open on our shared desktop. A mistake. She thought I wouldn't snoop. She was wrong. Her inbox was mostly clean, too clean. But the trash folder was sloppy. A deleted flight confirmation to Portland, 2 tickets. Same last name on both bookings. Not hers. His. She came home early. That was her second mistake. I wasn't supposed to be there. I had swapped shifts that morning, didn't tell her. I was in the driveway when her rideshare pulled up. She stepped out dragging her suitcase, wearing jeans and a loose sweatshirt like she had something to hide under it. She froze when she saw me. Back already? I asked. Her eyes flicked to the garage, then to her phone. Yeah. Conference got cut short. There was an electrical issue at the hotel. I didn't reply. I just looked at her. And maybe she sensed something in my face because her tone changed instantly. Babe, what's wrong? She said. And right there, before she even took a step toward me, I asked her plainly, were you in Portland? She hesitated. That pause was everything. A 2-second silence that screamed louder than any confession. Then she said no. Why would I be in Portland? I didn't raise my voice. I just turned my phone toward her, played the video from the airport. She didn't even blink. Instead she said, that's not me. It was her. She didn't flinch. She didn't stutter. Just calmly stood there, suitcase in one hand, phone in the other, and lied to my face with the kind of ease you don't develop overnight. That wasn't instinct. That was practice. She looked at the screen playing her own image in a grainy Instagram story and simply said, that's not me. As if I hadn't memorized every curve of her face for the past 7 years. As if she could gaslight me out of reality with a straight face and a soft voice. I didn't answer. I didn't have to. I just watched her eyes, waiting for something: panic, shame, regret. But there was nothing. Just that unsettling calm, like she had already decided how this conversation would go. Like she had run through it in her head. Then casually, she stepped past me and walked into the house like I hadn't just caught her in a lie that detonated the floor beneath us. I didn't follow immediately. I stood in the driveway for almost a full minute listening to the door shut behind her, trying to process how someone could be so utterly unaffected by the moment her world was supposed to collapse. When I did go inside, she was in the kitchen filling the kettle. Making tea. Making tea. Are we really going to do this? I asked. She didn't turn around. Do what? This game. She finally faced me leaning against the counter with her arms crossed. You're being dramatic. That's not even proof. So you're sticking to it? That the video is fake? That I imagined the flight confirmation with Eli's name on it. Her lip twitched slightly at the name. First tell. She recovered quickly. Eli and I flew together, yes. I didn't tell you because I knew you'd make it weird. But there's nothing going on. We had separate rooms. He's just a friend. There it was again. Just a friend. I stepped closer, put my phone on the counter, and opened the deleted emails. If he's just a friend, why'd you delete the booking? Why not just tell me from the start? She shrugged. Because you're acting like this. You always overreact. That hit different. Not because it was true, but because it was rehearsed. Like she had been waiting for the opportunity to use it. Like she had already labeled me the problem in this conversation. I'm not overreacting, I said. You lied. Multiple times. You're twisting everything. I deleted the email because I knew you'd act like this. I didn't cheat. You want me to say I did so you can be the victim. It wasn't what she said, it was how calm she was. How she turned it around so fast, like I was the unreasonable one. Like I had been waiting to explode. So I said nothing. I just stared at her, and for the first time in years I didn't see the woman I married. I saw someone calculating, someone dangerous in her coldness. Her composure wasn't grace, it was strategy. I opened another tab on my phone, scrolled to a second photo I hadn't shown her yet. One sent by a stranger with no message attached. It was blurry but clear enough. Her and Eli sitting in a cafe in Portland. His hand resting on her thigh. Her hand on his. No separate rooms. No harmless friendship. No deniability. I turned the phone toward her again. This time, she didn't deny it. She didn't panic either. She stared at the screen for a few seconds, then met my eyes and said, "So what now? You want to throw everything away because of one mistake." One mistake. I didn't say anything. I just walked out of the kitchen and into the guest room, shut the door behind me. I needed space. Not to cry. Not to scream. But to think. Because the woman in the other room wasn't my wife anymore. She was someone else entirely. And I wasn't sure I even wanted to know what else she was capable of. I didn't sleep that night. Not even a little. I lay on the guest bed, staring at the ceiling fan, listening to the low hum of the fridge and the occasional creak of the floorboards above. She was up there, just a few feet away. Maybe sleeping. Maybe texting him. Maybe lying awake too, planning her next story. I didn't care. Something had cracked and I couldn't glue it back even if I wanted to. Around 4 a.m. I got up and went downstairs. The living room still smelled like her vanilla candles. There was a hoodie on the arm of the couch, his. I recognized it from the cafe photo. Gray with a faded college logo. I picked it up like it was infected and held it for a moment. My hand trembled. Not from sadness. From something colder. I stuffed it into a trash bag, tied the knot, and left it outside by the bins without a word. At 7-Eleven, she came downstairs in yoga pants and a tank top, hair tied back like nothing happened. She saw the guest room door open, saw me in the kitchen. "You didn't sleep?" she asked. I didn't answer. She opened the fridge like it was any other morning. Poured almond milk into her protein shake. Took a sip. "I meant what I said last night." "Which part?" I asked without turning around. "That it was one mistake. I know it looks bad. But I stopped it before anything serious happened." That word, serious, hit differently. "So what did happen?" She paused. A long one. Then said, "We kissed. That's all." I got caught up in the moment. I told him it was a mistake. "I flew back early to come home to you." Lie. Her flight back wasn't early. It was on schedule. I knew because I checked. I turned to face her. "I've already seen the receipts, you know. The ones you deleted." She didn't blink. 2 round-trip tickets. A hotel suite. Not separate rooms. "You made the booking. You planned it." She let the silence stretch. Then she sipped her shake and said, "So what? You dug through my trash like some obsessed ex? Is that who you are now?" And right there I saw it. Not remorse. Not even shame. Contempt. "You planned it," I repeated. "And you only came back early because you knew someone had sent me the video. Didn't you?" Another pause. Longer this time. Then a shift in her tone. "What exactly do you want from me, huh? You want me to cry? Beg? Fall at your feet and say I'm a monster? I'm not doing that. You were boring. You never saw it, but you just faded. I didn't want this to happen, but it did. And I came back. Doesn't that count for something?" "No." She laughed. Actually laughed. "God, you're unbelievable." And suddenly I wasn't angry. I was awake. wide awake for the first time in months. Do you love him? I asked. That stopped her. She looked at me like I just asked if she believed in aliens. Then slowly, I don't know. That was worse than yes. I walked past her, picked up my keys. She didn't move. I stopped by the door, turned once more. Was it worth it? I asked. She didn't answer. But her silence was louder than any word she could have said. I left. Not forever, not yet. Just to breathe. To walk. To let the cold air hit me in the face and remind me that I wasn't the crazy one. And while I walked, my phone buzzed. A new message. From him. Just a name and a sentence. Eli. I didn't know she was married. I stood in the middle of a grocery store parking lot, thumb hovering over the screen. The message was short, but it hit like a brick through glass. I didn't know she was married. That wasn't an apology. That was a confession. A line drawn in the dirt, his side, my side, and hers scribbled somewhere in the middle like a ghost. I sat in my truck, the engine off, phone in my lap, trying to decide if I should respond. Should I blow up? Ask questions? Thank him for confirming what I already knew? Instead, I just typed. You were in a hotel suite with her for 3 days. You didn't think to ask. He replied in under a minute. She said she was divorced. Said it got finalized last year. That she still lived with her ex until she found her own place. The cold that settled into my chest didn't come from the February wind outside, it was from that message. The precision of the lie. The ease. She didn't just cheat. She erased me. In her version of the story, I was already gone. Dead weight. A leftover. And she had said it so casually to him. Like it was the truth. I asked one last question. Did anything happen between you two? This time, the typing bubble lingered. Yes. I'm sorry. I didn't know. If I had, I swear I wouldn't have gone near her. I didn't reply. What was there to say? He wasn't the villain in this story. He was a symptom. She was the disease. I drove for 3 hours after that. No music. No destination. Just road and silence and the occasional scream caught in my throat. I thought of every little moment I dismissed. The way she started sleeping with her phone screen down. The new lingerie she bought and never wore at home. How she suddenly became obsessed with yoga again only on Thursday nights. How she stopped locking eyes with me when we argued like she was afraid I might read something hiding behind her pupils. When I got back, the house was too quiet. I half expected her to be gone. She wasn't. She was in the living room scrolling through her tablet like nothing had happened. I talked to him, I said. She didn't look up. Who? Eli. Now she looked. Her face didn't change. Why would you do that? He thought you were divorced. She stood slowly. Not defensive. Not scared. Just irritated. Like I was inconveniencing her. I told him what he needed to hear. And what about me? What did I need to hear? You needed to believe I was happy. I was trying to protect you. The absurdity of it almost made me laugh. You lied to both of us and think that counts as protection? Her jaw clenched. You weren't supposed to find out like this. No. I was just supposed to keep mowing the lawn, paying the bills, playing the husband while you disappeared into someone else's bed for conferences. That the plan? She didn't speak. I stepped closer. You looked me in the face. You said you'd never cheat. You laughed like I was some insecure idiot. All while you were sleeping next to me and plotting your exit. Don't pretend you were perfect, she said, voice rising. You stopped trying. You got comfortable. You thought buying me flowers once a month was enough to keep a marriage alive. So that justifies pretending to be divorced and sleeping with another man? Her silence answered everything. And then she said something I'll never forget. You should be grateful it was just one. It could have been worse. That moment right there was when the last string snapped. Whatever I'd held onto, the idea of working through it, of finding some sliver of the woman I married, was gone. She didn't regret it. She regretted being caught. I walked away without another word. But in my head, a plan had started to form. Not out of revenge. Not out of anger. Clarity. The kind that only comes after watching someone bury you with their bare hands and call it gardening. The next day, I didn't speak to her. Not a word. I woke up early, showered, dressed, and left before she came downstairs. I didn't even slam the door. I wanted silence to be louder than noise. Let her wonder what I was doing. Let her twist in it. I wasn't running away. I was preparing. I drove straight to a lawyer's office. It was a small firm on the edge of town, the kind of place with old wooden chairs and too many certificates on the walls. I didn't have an appointment, but I got lucky. The partner had a cancellation. He was older, maybe mid-60s, and he shook my hand like he meant it. Tell me everything, he said. And I did. Every detail. Every photo. Every lie. I showed him the deleted flight confirmation, the hotel suite receipts, even the texts from Eli. I told him about her calmness, her contempt, the way she weaponized affection when it suited her. I left nothing out. He listened without interrupting once. When I was done, he leaned back and sighed. You're not the first man to sit in that chair with a story like this, he said. But I'll tell you something, most wait too long. You didn't. That's good. I didn't feel good. I felt hollow. We discussed next steps. I learned quickly how the law looks at betrayal, not with emotion, but with paperwork. He explained that emotional affairs are hard to prove, but physical ones? Photos, hotel stays, deleted messages. That was leverage. What are you after? He asked. Spite or freedom? Freedom, I said. But I want her to know she didn't get away with it. He nodded like he understood. Then we'll make sure she doesn't. After the meeting, I didn't go home. I went to Nate's place instead. My brother had already offered his couch the moment I sent him that video. He didn't ask questions. He handed me a beer, sat across from me, and let the silence hang. After a while he said, "You know you can't stay in that house, right?" I nodded. "I mean, she burned it to the ground, Ty. You're just standing in the ashes pretending you smell flowers." "I'm not pretending anymore," I said. That night I texted her. Short, clean. "I won't be home tonight. Don't contact me. You'll hear from my lawyer." 10 minutes later, she called. I didn't answer. Then came the texts. First, "You're being dramatic." Then, "We need to talk like adults." Then, "I'll tell everyone you hit me if you try to take me to court." That one stopped me. I stared at it stunned. Not angry. Not even surprised. She was always good at threats wrapped in soft voices. But now she was shedding even that. Now she was showing me the full picture, the mask off, the weapon drawn. I didn't reply. Instead, I screenshotted it and sent it to my lawyer. He responded almost immediately. "Do not reply. Keep everything. She just handed you ammunition." That night, I slept for the first time in days. Deep. Dreamless. And when I woke up, I didn't miss her. I missed the man I used to be before she hollowed him out with lies. But I was starting to see him again. Piece by piece. I returned to the house 3 days later, not to talk, not to negotiate. Just to gather my things. She wasn't supposed to be there. I texted her the night before, "I'll be by in the morning. Please don't be home." No response. When I pulled into the driveway, her car was parked crooked, halfway on the lawn like she'd stopped mid-tantrum. I considered driving away. I didn't want a scene. But something told me to walk in with my head high, not like a man sneaking into his own life. The front door was unlocked. Inside, the living room looked untouched, like a museum display of a marriage that had expired on the shelf. But the silence was sharp. Too sharp. She was in the kitchen, standing by the island with a cup of coffee like she was waiting for a guest, not the husband she'd emotionally bulldozed 2 weeks earlier. She didn't flinch when she saw me. "I figured we should talk," she said, her voice way too calm. "I told you not to be here." And I ignored it, she said. "We're married, Tyler. You don't get to vanish and pretend that's maturity." I didn't take the bait. I walked past her, straight to the stairs. "You're just gonna pack and leave," she said behind me. Without even asking me why? I stopped halfway up. "I already know why. You know what you think you know." I turned back. Her arms were crossed now. She wore a hoodie, maybe something that didn't belong in this house. And her eyes had that look again, the one she used when she was about to say something cruel and call it honesty. "Then tell me," I said. "Tell me why you did it. Why you lied to him. To me. To yourself." She stared at me for a long moment. Then she walked over to the counter, picked up a folded sheet of paper, and held it out like she was offering a peace treaty. I didn't move. "It's from my therapist," she said. "She thinks I have something called avoidant attachment. It means I push people away before they can hurt me. I've been working through some things." I laughed once. "Short. Ugly." She snapped. "What's so funny?" "You didn't push me away," I said. "You dragged me along while you created a second life and blamed me for not being psychic. I was miserable, Tyler. So you decided to lie to both of us?" "I didn't lie to him," she shot back. "Not until I had to. That made me stop." "What do you mean had to?" She looked away. "I was going to end things with him. After Portland. I realized I still had feelings for you." My head tilted before I could stop it. "So the plan was what? One last weekend in a hotel and then back to playing house with me?" She didn't answer. I nodded. "Got it." Then I turned and walked upstairs, packed in silence while she hovered downstairs. I could feel her pacing. Maybe she thought the paper from the therapist would somehow change my trajectory. Like a diagnosis could rewire betrayal into a misunderstanding. When I came back down with 2 duffel bags, she blocked the door. "You're not even going to try?" she asked. "Try what?" "To forgive. To fix it. To understand me." I stared at her. Not yelling. Not shaking. Just, done. "You want forgiveness? Start with yourself." And I stepped around her and walked out. No slamming. No final word. In the driveway, I paused to look back once, just once. She was standing in the doorway staring after me. But her eyes didn't say I'm sorry. They said I lost. And for the first time since this entire nightmare began, I felt a sliver of peace. The bags sat in the back seat like anchors. I didn't go back to Nate's. I drove past the exit and kept going. Something told me I needed to be away from the house, from the town, from every corner that still had her fingerprints. I ended up in a motel 2 counties over. One of those roadside places where the lights flicker and the front desk clerk doesn't ask questions. That night I unpacked nothing. Just lay on the bed, staring at the ceiling, my phone face down beside me. It buzzed twice. I didn't check. I didn't need to. She'd already shown me everything I needed to know. The next morning, my lawyer called. He sounded almost energized. She made contact, he asked. Twice last night. Perfect. I filed today. Served her at noon. That was the first real breath I'd taken in weeks. She'd probably open the envelope and think it was a bluff. She'd call, maybe cry, maybe curse. Maybe both. I didn't care. She had spent the last month treating truth like a suggestion. Now it was coming for her in print and official letterhead. By midday she tried again. 3 missed calls. Then came the message, "You're really doing this? After everything?" I didn't answer. She tried another angle. "We can go to counseling. You're throwing away 6 years over one mistake." There it was again. That word. Mistake. She didn't see it as betrayal. She saw it as a misstep. A speed bump. Something a good man would overlook if he really loved her. But I had loved her. Too much. That was the problem. I had loved her enough to shrink myself every time she made me feel like I wasn't enough. I loved her through cold nights, silent treatments, backhanded apologies. And when I stopped asking questions, she thought it was permission. That evening I met with my lawyer again. He drafted a list of assets, including the house technically mine before the marriage. He asked if I wanted to fight for it. No, I said. Let her keep the walls she poisoned. He gave me a look. That's not strategic. Maybe not. But I don't want the victory to look like her. He nodded. I'll make it happen. After that I drove to the lake. No reason. Just instinct. I stood by the water, listening to the wind move through the trees. That's when I saw her name light up my screen again. No text. A call. I answered. Silence. Then her voice, small. Too small. You're really not coming back, are you? No, I said. You already left. I'm just catching up. She didn't argue. Didn't cry. Just said he wasn't worth it. I waited a beat. Neither were you. And I hung up. I thought that would be the end of it. But the storm wasn't done yet. Because the next morning, Nate called me. You're not gonna believe this, he said. She posted something. What? On Facebook. It's already spreading. She's saying you cheated. That you hit her. That she left you. I didn't respond at first. I just sat on the edge of the bed and let the words settle like dust on glass. Then I said, screenshot everything. Because now, the real war had started. I hadn't expected her to go nuclear. I thought after the papers were served, she'd sulk, maybe throw one last guilt trip, then vanish into her own mess. But no, she chose scorched earth. Nate sent me the screenshots one after another. Her post was long, dramatic, and just vague enough to dodge a lawsuit, but clear enough for anyone who knew us to figure out who she was talking about. She wrote, sometimes you have to walk away from someone who breaks your spirit. I stayed through the cheating, the gaslighting, and even the time he raised his hand to me. I stayed because I believed in our vows. But I'm not staying silent anymore. I deserve peace. I deserve honesty. The comments were already filling up with hearts and "You're so strong, and if you ever need anything, I'm here." Old friends of hers. Some mutuals. A few people I barely remembered from our wedding. All of them patting her back like she'd survived a war I never even started. It hit me in a way nothing else had. Not the hotel, not the lies, not even the betrayal. Because this wasn't about her anymore. This was about me, who I was, what I stood for. And she was dragging my name through dirt just to stay the victim in her version of the story. My phone buzzed again. My lawyer. Already saw it, he said before I even spoke. We're drafting a cease and desist now. She's lying about everything, I said, pacing the motel floor. She flipped the entire thing upside down. She's not stupid. She knows how to frame it emotionally. People don't need proof, just a story. I sat down. What do we do? First, document. Every message, every post, every witness who knows the truth. Then we counter her version with facts. She started a war of perception. We respond with evidence. Should I post something? No, he said. Not yet. Don't feed her. Let her scream into the void while we build a wall of truth. I wanted to shout. To drag her into the light and show everyone what she really was. But I didn't. I waited. Instead, I started making calls. Quiet ones. I spoke to people who had seen things. A coworker who once overheard her bragging at a bar. A mutual friend who admitted she'd hinted at an escape plan months before Portland. Even Eli again who, to his credit, didn't back down. She told me you were controlling, he said. Said you'd go crazy if she filed first, so she had to be careful. Do you still believe her? He paused. No. Not after everything I've seen. I recorded every call. Saved every message. Built a quiet arsenal. That week, she posted again. A second hit. Healing from emotional abuse is messy. But I'm proud of myself for finally choosing me. She included a photo. Not of me. Just a sad selfie on the couch, wrapped in a blanket, eyes puffy but expression controlled. Like she'd studied the look of a woman wronged. And people bought it. Until they didn't. Because that night, a message showed up in her comment section. A woman I didn't know. No profile picture. No friends in common. It said, "Is this the same girl I saw making out with some guy at the Ace Hotel in Portland last month?" Yikes. It had 1 like. Then 3. Then 10. A crack. Another comment followed. "I work at that hotel. Room 617? Suite with the skyline view?" I checked them in myself. She said it was their anniversary. Then silence. She deleted the post within the hour. But it was too late. People had seen it. And my lawyer? He smiled when I told him. Good, he said. Let her keep talking. We'll let the truth finish the conversation. The air shifted after that night. It wasn't immediate, but it was definite. People stopped liking her posts. A few of her loyal defenders went quiet. Some even deleted their comments entirely. Like rats off a sinking ship, they realized the story she'd sold them wasn't waterproof. She didn't post anything the next day. Or the one after. Then, like clockwork, I got the email. Not from her. From her friend. A woman named Amanda who I barely knew, someone she used to vent to, apparently. Subject line, "Thought you should know." The message inside was simple. She's panicking. She's trying to spin a new version now. That Eli tricked her. That it was emotional manipulation. She's saying you abandoned her emotionally and that's why she looked elsewhere. I used to believe her. I don't anymore. I saw the receipts you posted. She's lying to stay afloat. Just be careful. She's not done. I hadn't posted any receipts. Not publicly. Which meant the screenshots were leaking. My lawyer's drafts, my private backups, someone had passed them along. Maybe Nate. Maybe Eli. I didn't care. I wasn't trying to win a popularity contest. I just wanted the ground to stop shaking. But it didn't. Because 2 days later, she showed up. I was still staying in the motel. Same room. Same flickering lamp. There was a knock just before midnight. I checked the peephole. It was her. No makeup. Hair tied back. A hoodie over pajamas. She looked smaller. I opened the door but didn't let her in. You shouldn't be here, I said. She didn't argue. Just stood there holding a manila envelope. I signed, she said. Didn't even read it. Just signed. I didn't move. Why? Because it's done. I'm done. I know I can't fix this. And I'm tired. She handed me the envelope. I took it, still waiting for the trap, the turn, the performance. But there wasn't one. She stepped back. You don't have to hate me anymore. I don't, I said. You made sure that. There's nothing left to hate. She swallowed. Her voice wavered. I didn't think you'd actually walk away. I don't think you ever thought I'd stand up. She nodded slowly, like it hurt. Then she left. Just turned and walked down the cracked sidewalk toward her car. No goodbye. No final word. Just footsteps fading. I didn't go after her. I closed the door and sat on the bed with the envelope in my lap, hands still. For the first time since the beginning, I didn't feel the need to move, to fight, to prove anything. This wasn't revenge. This was release. I texted my lawyer 2 words, she signed. He replied, I'll handle the rest. And just like that, it was nearly over. But before I closed this chapter, I did one thing. I made a single post. Private. Just for close friends and family. No emotion. No drama. Just the truth. Divorce finalized soon. There's been a lot said. Some of it true. Most of it not. I stayed quiet to protect what little dignity I had left. But I'm not hiding anymore. If you want to know the truth, I'll show you. I have nothing to be ashamed of. She does. Then I logged out. For good. I didn't watch the fallout. Didn't read the replies. I walked away from the whole mess, online and off, because I finally understood that peace doesn't come from proving yourself right. It comes from knowing you no longer need to. The divorce was finalized 2 weeks later. Clean. Quiet. My lawyer sent me a PDF with a subject line that read simply, "It's done." I stared at it longer than I should have. There were no fireworks. No dramatic closure. Just a series of digital signatures and the quiet confirmation that I was no longer legally tied to the woman who once made me believe we were building a life together. I thought I'd feel sad. I didn't. What I felt was something I couldn't name at first, like the moment after a storm when the sky isn't quite clear, but the rain has stopped and everything smells like possibility. I didn't cry. I didn't rage. I just sat there with the laptop open, a man alone in a borrowed room, completely and undeniably free. In the weeks that followed, she tried once, just once, to make contact. A postcard. No return address. No name. Just a picture of some beach and 5 words scribbled in the corner. I hope you find peace. I didn't respond. I didn't need to. She was still chasing redemption through performance. Still trying to write the final scene in a movie I'd already walked out of. Instead, I started rebuilding. I got a new place, small, clean, quiet. Painted the walls myself. Bought furniture I actually liked. No more pretending. No more compromise. I stopped drinking coffee because I never really liked it, I just matched her habits. I went back to reading before bed. Started running again. Simple things. But they felt like acts of rebellion. Like I was reclaiming my name from the rubble. I went out once with someone new. Just a drink. Nothing serious. But she laughed at something I said and touched my arm, and it didn't feel dangerous. It didn't feel like I had to decode her every expression or brace for a twist. That's when I knew I was healing. I'm not bitter. I'm not broken. I'm not looking to hurt anyone, not even her. But I've learned something that I wish someone had told me sooner. Love should never feel like surveillance. You shouldn't have to be a detective in your own home. If you find yourself combing through trash folders, second-guessing smiles, decoding travel receipts, you're already living in a lie, whether or not it's been spoken out loud. Don't wait for proof. Trust the shift. I don't share this story for revenge. I share it because someone out there is sitting in silence, wondering if they're the problem. If they're overreacting. If maybe, just maybe, the person they love has a shadow behind their eyes they don't want to see. Trust your gut. Mine whispered for months before I listened. And when I finally did, I found something far stronger than betrayal. I found myself again.